All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a deep dive. Specifically, we're adopting a rigorous tactical approach for all you football enthusiasts out there who really want to understand the game on a much deeper level. We're zeroing in on the central area of the pitch, the absolute heart of the play. It's the true engine room of any self-respecting football team. Because honestly, without a highly functional engine room, it doesn't even matter how good your strikers or your defenders are. Your team just isn't going anywhere.
So, let's jump right into our first big idea, the myth of the midfielder. I really want to challenge you to totally forget your usual football vocabulary for the next few minutes. When we're talking about modern tactical analysis, using a generic term like midfielder to describe a player is, well, it's completely insufficient. Actually, scratch that. It's a lazy label. It completely masks the true complexity of what's actually going down in the center of the park.
Picture this scene for a second. You've got a patient in the emergency room, and their life is on the line. Are you just going to run down the hallway yelling, "Hey, I need a doctor"? No way. If they need open-heart surgery, you need a cardiac surgeon, right? Well, it is exactly the same out on the pitch. Saying a team simply needs a midfielder is just like asking for a generic doctor. What a manager actually needs to solve a precise tactical problem is a specialist, a true surgeon.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? Let's break down the exact anatomy of our engine room. Instead of viewing the midfield as just this one big, shapeless block, the data shows us we need to break it down into three distinct, highly surgical profiles. Number one, the Regista. Number two, the box-to-box. And number three, the anchor. Definitely keep this three-part structure in your head because it is absolutely the keystone of everything we're looking at today.
First up on the list, we have the Regista, or as I like to call them, the brain of the operation. In the anatomy of our team, this is the player who's controlling all the electrical impulses. They're dictating the tempo and deciding exactly how fast or how slow the entire game is going to unfold. The absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that the Regista is the team's conductor. They usually operate from a slightly deeper position in the midfield, but they aren't just casually knocking the ball around. No, they are orchestrating entire, complex sequences of play. They're constantly reading movements, anticipating openings before they even happen, and making sure every single instrument in the team is playing in perfect harmony. It is pure, unadulterated vision.
But a brain needs raw physical energy to actually move the body, right? And that brings us to our second profile, the box-to-box, which we can think of as the engine. This player is the very embodiment of pure dynamism on the green rectangle. They're the ones transforming all that high-level tactical theory into sheer physical power.
The name box-to-box literally tells you everything you need to know about their spatial responsibility. They are operating from penalty area to penalty area. They are the engine propelling the play forward when we're attacking, and then they're tracking all the way back with just immense, insane stamina to support the defense. Honestly, this specific profile requires an absolutely relentless volume of athletic running.
Okay, so finally, what happens when the opponent goes on the attack? That's when we rely on our third tactical profile, the anchor. They act as the team's shield. Unlike the other two profiles we just talked about, who have those really obvious creative or transitional jobs, this player has a much more obscure, yet absolutely vital calling.
As the shield of the team, the anchor is a purely defensive specialist. This is the player who actively sacrifices personal glory. No goals, no flashy assists, just to protect the backline. They plug the gaps, intercept the dangerous passes, and provide continuous cover while the rest of the team bombs forward to attack. Literally, without this solid anchor firmly in place, the whole system is at risk of just totally collapsing from a single rapid counterattack. Let's take all these theoretical concepts and anchor them in reality with one of the most famous tactical case studies in football history, the Claude Makélélé Effect. Because honestly, nothing proves the vital importance of these specific roles quite like seeing what happens when a team completely neglects them. Claude Makélélé was the absolute embodiment of the anchor. He was the ultimate shield. His tactical mastery of this hyper-specific defensive role was so total, so perfect, that analysts and fans around the world literally renamed the position in his honor. People didn't even say defensive midfielder anymore. They just said a player was playing the Makélélé role. That is how good he was. And the dramatic irony of this whole story is exactly how he ended up proving his immense value. When he left Real Madrid, who by the way were the most expensive attack-minded team in the entire world at the time, it was glaringly obvious. The club had stockpiled all these offensive superstars, just blindly assuming that generic midfielders would be enough to link the play. They had completely forgotten to keep their shield, The result? The team's balance was instantly destroyed, and their whole system collapsed. There's a perfect quote for this. His departure from Real Madrid was so visible it defined an entire role. That right there perfectly encapsulates our whole analysis today. That one catastrophic absence definitively proved to the footballing world that you cannot just buy big-name players and throw them randomly into the middle of the pitch. You absolutely need highly specialized profiles, because if you don't have a shield, your engine and your brain are left completely exposed. Which brings me to a final question for you. The next time you sit down to watch a match, I want you to try forgetting the word midfielder. Adopting this new tactical approach, look at the engine room through this fresh lens. Try to spot the conductor orchestrating the play. Watch for that engine powering up and down the pitch. And above all, try to spot that hidden shield. Who is the surgeon making the difference for your favorite team? Keep that question in mind, and the way you watch football will never be the same. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.